Hey guys, we're back live right here at CubsCon. Evan with Cubs Insider, and we are joined now with Jason McLeod of the Cubs VP of Scouting. So, Evan, why don't we turn it over to you and just kind of hop right into things? I'm really interested to hear what we're going to be looking forward to this season.
All right, sounds good. We'll get to it. Well, thanks for joining us first of all. And so I know it's a little busy here, right? I heard.
Yeah, exactly.
We've been getting the reminders. I know it's become a popular thing online to remind people, but you remember that the Cubs won the World Series, right? This is kind of a big deal here.
Yeah, it's pretty phenomenal. You never get tired of watching the Game 7 highlights, especially. But when you take the time to even look through back at the entire season, but specifically the postseason, and then you get into that the big ballroom last night where they had the opening ceremonies, and to be able to relive it with the fans that were in there, tremendous feeling of emotion, and just remembering that we did this 2 months ago or whatever it's been now. But it's pretty awesome. You feel the energy of all the Cubs fans that are here, and it's great, of course, to see the players that we haven't seen since the parade, and this is always the kickoff to the season, really. We know that spring training's around the corner in a couple of weeks. We're making all of our preparations for that, and soon enough, guys will be back in Myrtle Beach, and the season will be up and running.
Well, so talking about Myrtle Beach, and we're here in the Mayfair room. We've got all the minor league affiliates here, and you've overseen over the last 5 years. There's been an overhaul on a couple different fronts, right? We got different affiliates. There's been moves there, and to see what the change has happened to where this is a legitimate pipeline, sending guys up. So, how fulfilling has that been for you, just professionally and personally, to see that happen?
When you try to drop a plan of how you hope things will go, to be able to visualize it and then go out and execute it, whether it's acquiring talent, whether it's which is going to be on the field, or acquiring talent, in the terms of scouts or front office or coaching staff, to looking for first-class facilities and first-class cities. When we showed up in the fall of 2011, things look so drastically different now. When since that time, we've brought our Dominican Academy online, and the new facility down in Mesa, 2 new affiliates, and being in a place like Myrtle Beach, in that city, in that community, a great ballpark for pitching, a great ballpark to develop hitters that can use the entire field, to the other affiliates that have come online since we've been here. We're at this really this moment in time where, especially now, we're coming off of fulfilling a 108-year trek that it doesn't stop there. The renovation of Wrigley is continuing. We've got new offices opening up for us in 2 months. That'll be ready when we come back from spring training. So the building continues. The challenge for us continues in scouting and player development to go out and replenish the pipeline. We lost an incredibly talented player last year in Gleyber Torres, and we traded him for Chapman, and we understand that you've got to make those types of deals if you're hoping to win the World Series, and we did. But now the onus is on us as scouting and player development staff to go identify, acquire those guys, and develop them to help the future Major League Cubs.
We talk about developing those players. Torres is one where I actually got the chance to see him play in the playoffs 2 seasons ago when he had come up. He had been at low A, and he came up late. There's been, at least it seems from the outside, there's bringing these guys up, we're keeping them in a place to experience that playoff baseball, and to kind of experience what that winning is going to be like at those lower levels as they're coming up. Is that something that you had sought out to do from the first stages, or is that something that sort of came along organically?
A little bit of both. I think we've done it in the past where you identify some young players that you feel are going to have an impact on your organization, and you want to put them in these positions where Joe Madden talked about it a little bit last night, where you get them out of their comfort zone and you challenge them somewhat. And we did it a few years ago when we drafted Albert Almora, the year that we drafted him and signed him. He was in Arizona all summer, and our Boise affiliate at the time was going to be in the playoffs. So we wanted him to get that type of experience. We moved him at the end of the year, similar to what we did with Gleyber 2 seasons ago. And so when the timing's right, if we can do that with certain players, certainly players that we feel are going to hopefully have an impact on our Major League club at some point, we try to put them in those positions to give them that experience and have them play in that environment. Because so much about minor league baseball is just player development, working on player plans, certain specific fundamentals for that day. We don't always emphasize the winning part of it, and that's an opportunity. As a team's pushing for a playoff spot or in the playoffs, that's an opportunity to just, you got to go out and win a ball game tonight, and it's very meaningful and impactful for them to go through that.
Well, so one thing that I've really noticed, and again from the outside seeing this, is that it doesn't feel as though, whether it be social media and the teams kind of messing around with each other a little bit, whether it be just their willingness to work with one another in a capacity like this here at Cubs Convention, it's not 5 separate fingers. It really is a fist, and that's had some kind of an impact for you guys, hasn't it?
It really does, man. We're so, I don't like to use this word lightly and throw it around, but we are incredibly blessed to have the affiliates that we have, and the relationships that we have with our affiliates is it's unlike anything I've experienced in baseball, and being in Major League Baseball now for going on my 24th season. We have great relationships with the ownership groups, with the front offices that are there. Unfortunately, outside of maybe spring training, and even then, you'll get a few GMs or some teams, they'll come in like sporadically at different times. Really, the only time we're together as a group is at the winter meetings, when we are all together, and we always host a reception. And it's a really fun time because Joe Madden's there, Theo, and we all get to get up and speak and really show our appreciation for our affiliates. But they get the audience with Theo and Jed and Joe, and it's just a chance for all of us to hobnob together, because we are a family here, and we try our best to make sure that whether you're in Myrtle or South Bend or Tennessee, Eugene, wherever you're at, like, we want you to feel a part of what's happening in Chicago. We want you to feel a part of that vibe, because they are so integral to helping us get where we want to be, and that's A, a first-class organization, B, developing our players, and you might work in radio broadcasting for Myrtle, or you might work the merch tent at South Bend or whatever, but we want to do whatever we can to make you feel like we're all Cubs here, we're all part of trying to get to what happened this past year, and now the goal is to do it again.
Well, that's something we've seen. I think the example is set at the highest level, right? And you see that, I think, when we see the guys from the front office, when we see out there in the bleachers, right? And it looks from the top down to everyone as if you genuinely enjoy it, not just on a professional level, because there's obviously been a lot of success, but on a personal level, working together from the top all the way down through the organization.
No doubt. I mean, if I come into Myrtle, I hope that I can get an audience with Andy and go sit in the office and just talk about how things are going.
I try to avoid Andy generally, but I don't know.
I will say, if I can jump in, he did say to say hello, and I was supposed to bring, I apologize, a little mini bottle of Jack for you, just to say, hey, post-game, maybe we'll get together next year and have a drink in the office after a game in Myrtle. So.
Well, that's where we have our best conversations. They're in the office, bottle of Jack, and we're talking about how things are going. Or Alan. I've had many libations with Mr. Benavides over there in Eugene, or Joe Hart in South Bend, and on down the list, Brian Cox in Tennessee, Sam Burnaby. I mean, these guys are Cubs. They're all part of the family. And I'm so fortunate that I get to go to all these affiliates, and I get to spend time with not just our coaching staff, but spend time with the front office there. It's just as important to us that we ask everybody, what can we do better for you guys? It generally always is the GMs asking us, is there anything more we can be doing? And we want everyone to know it works both ways, and we want them to be just as proud of us and being affiliated with the Cubs, and anything that we can do to certainly help their respective affiliates.
It's got to be pretty rough to have to travel down to Myrtle Beach for work, right? There's not much else to do down there.
It's kind of
sure.
hard when you're you're by the beach. There's some golf there. I mean, it really impedes the work that can get done when you're down there.
It's a hard place to take the family down to and everything. I know I keep trying to do that. They keep inviting me down. I gotta like I said, they actually let me come back after singing there. So I don't know. Maybe they.
I know. I was just telling the guys in Eugene, it's tough to go up there and hike along the rivers, and take a ride out to Bend, maybe go catch a team in Vancouver or something.
You guys just set up your affiliates for places that you just want a vacation. That's really, I think we've uncovered the key to the organizational development.
That tends to play a role in the summer schedule, I guess. Right. That's for sure.
Well, I know, watching that and seeing some of these guys come up, we had Rob Zastryzny over here. We had Jamer Candelario come through. I mean, that was something I think for the longest time, Cubs fans got a little bit jumpy about. We'd seen these names and they didn't quite pan out, but you guys have had a tremendous track record over the last several years of having them come up and find success. Is that about the player? Is that about the development? Can you speak to that success that we've seen of late?
Well, it's first and foremost all about the player. They're the ones with the talent. We certainly try to surround them with and give them everything that we possibly can to maximize their abilities. But it's about who they are. It's about how they're driven, and then it's up to us to put a plan in place that hopefully puts them in position to succeed. And I've only been in Myrtle for a couple of years, but we've gotten a sense of pretty good players through there. And as sad as we are that Glaber's gone now, you have Ian Happ going through there. You got the glimpse of Eloy Jimenez, who's going to be a special player in the major leagues. So there's been still, and that's always our goal, is like to keep that chain going, keep it going, and we're excited for some of the players that are likely going to be on that roster this year. We finally feel like we're at a point in time where we've got some impact type pitching that is on the way. I think you guys will be excited with some of the names that will be in that rotation this year. So, it's fun for us, and it's fun, I think, as well for the fans that get to see these guys as A-ball players and then see them perform on the biggest stage once they do get to the major leagues.
Well, there's a lot of those guys. Everybody's heard about the top flight. I mean, Jimenez and being on that big stage at the Futures game and hitting the home run and making the catch. But who are maybe some guys, if we're looking forward here, since we are here, and we can maybe address some of the other affiliates if we have to, but we're here with Myrtle Beach. So
yeah.
who are some of the guys at Myrtle right now who are maybe a little bit under the radar, who fans should be looking out for?
Talking about that was on last year's team, who might be coming.
Who's gonna be there now in Myrtle for this season, or go either way with it.
Well, I think even like you look at last year's team, a guy who came up in the middle of the season, Donnie DeLeves, is someone that I think is going to make a name for himself in the coming years. More of if you saw him, he's more of a throwback type guy. You feel like you're watching someone in the '50s play, but he can really hit a lot of speed, obviously. I think players that you're going to have coming to the team this year. We already talked about Eloy. We have a guy that we converted last year to catching full time, named PJ Higgins. That's a pretty interesting catching conversion guy. We had a second baseman in South Bend named Carlos Sepulveda that I think the team, you guys will really enjoy watching play. Some of the arms, Oscar De La Cruz, that should be in that rotation. You might see a guy like a Thomas Hatch, who was our first pick out of the draft last year, going into Myrtle with a little more power and swinging this stuff. So we feel really good about the volume of guys. Being that we don't pick now anymore at the top of the draft, and hopefully we don't any time in the next 10 years, it's really inherent on us to still go get impact guys, upside players. And we're pretty excited about that prospect. And now this year, we actually have 2 first-round picks, which will be exciting because last year we had to sit around until pick 104, and that was a tough thing to do. But we're really excited about some of the prospects that will be there. And again, Myrtle, we've had some success there, obviously, the last couple of years, and look forward to another one this year.
So I know, talking about the draft position and where you'll be drafting this year. Obviously, it's been with Almora and Bryant and Schwarber and Happ. Other than Almora, who obviously coming out of high school, but there had been some really high level, more polished college bats, guys who could really shoot through the system a little quicker. But I know after that, there'd been a real run on pitchers. They've been kind of under there. Does that strategy? And I know you can't just be binary and say, well, because we pick here, we will do this. But how does that strategy change now that you're at the bottom of the draft? And obviously the needs are different at the big league club now too.
Absolutely. I mean, we're always going to be in a acquisition mode in terms of trying to get as much young talent as we possibly can. At the same time, you're not getting Chris Bryant when you're picking 27th. You're not getting Kyle Schwarber when you're picking 30th. Ian Happ, those types of guys won't be at the bottom of the first round. So, definitely hyper focused on pitching and starting pitching. That will remain, but at the same time, every draft is different. It's just dependent on what the talent base is that year. We're always going to shoot for impact and upside, and I think two things. One, our major league team is so young in terms of position players. There isn't so much of a need to go get a polished college bat. So, we're going to definitely mix the upside impact player, no matter where he comes from, high school, college, with our reality of we do need to still develop starting pitching.
I know there's some changes in the CBA as far as the international rules. With that signing, can you speak a little bit to how that maybe changes the strategy on an international basis?
Well, simply put, it's with the bigger market clubs like ourselves, it hamstrings us somewhat. A little bit at a disadvantage in terms of not having as much financial flexibility as some other teams. But that doesn't change the fact that it becomes just a true scouting competition. You still have to go identify players. Your scouts still need to go out and tell you, project on what a guy can do physically, but even more importantly, project and tell you how this kid's wired, how important it is to him, how hard he's going to work, what kind of teammate he's going to be, all of those things that are equally as important. So in that regard, it is still a scouting competition. Maybe we won't have the ability because of the CBA to go get multiple players like in an offseason when we signed Eloy and Gleyber Torres in the same offseason. But you can still go get very talented players like your Oscar De La Cruzes of the world that you don't have to spend that much money on, and that really means that you got to lean on your international scouting staff. And just like we'll do the same thing in the draft, with the pool of money that we have, whether it was last year not picking until the third round. Or this year having 2 first-round picks, the process doesn't change and the expectations don't change in terms of how we're going to work and the type of information that we're going to require of our scouts.
Now, can you talk a little? I know we've talked about family here, and it's on the shirts we see out here. We brought that up. We talked with Jamer about that a little bit too. As he's a young guy coming up, trying to there's a cultural shift. It's a little bit different for a kid who grew up in the States, who whether it was high school or whether it's coming out of college. Can you talk to how you're able to support those guys who are coming up 17, 18 years old?
So one of the things that we've done that's been pretty neat over the last couple of years is, first with this academy in the Dominican that the Ricketts family so graciously invested in, we're able to do a lot there with just education, and that's in the form of not just English classes. It's talking like a formal education as if they were in school still in the Dominican, to just assimilation, things that they're going to need to learn if they're coming over to the States, and then once they've gotten here, we've built up our mental skills department over the last 3 years. We hired a gentleman away from IMG Academy in Florida to be our director of mental skills, and that we have built that department up to where there's 4 full-time people in it now, and that they develop really a curriculum for all of our players to really develop as human beings more than anything. I shouldn't say more than anything, but to develop themselves as human beings in addition to getting them the mental skills necessary to perform at the highest level on the biggest stage. So that's become almost like a full-time agenda for our players, where they have a curriculum going throughout the year, and it's all season. It doesn't stop when the players go home. There's constant follow-up. We want our players to develop as people, as human beings, because even when our guys end up leaving baseball, which the majority of minor league players will, it's just the reality. 80% or whatever it is are not going to play in the big leagues. Can we still give them some tools and give them people to be productive members of society? And that's one thing we've challenged our mental skills staff on, and it's something that we take a lot of pride in. And so, dependent on level, dependent on if it's a Latin player, their English-speaking capabilities, and we do have a full-time Latin mental skills person. We build the curriculum based on that individual player in hopes of developing him to his fullest.
I know this might be kind of a big question, so I don't know how I can dial this down, but what are the goals for the minor league system. I mean, what are we trying to accomplish? Or you, I suppose, unless I'm hired to be a part of the staff, then it can be we. But we'll talk about that later. But what are the goals for the affiliates, maybe as a whole, going into next season?
Well, in a utopian society, we would win 6 championships in the minor leagues, and all these guys would get to the big leagues. But look, the function of your minor league system is to provide major league players, and that's the goal. So it always starts with, can we develop talented impact players, either for our major league team or to get in a trade to go acquire the talent that we need. So that's always the goal. That starts there. But from that, it's bigger than that in the sense of, there is a family here. We're all fortunate to be Cubs. We want everybody to feel like they're part of what happened on November 2nd, as they should. We want to develop all of our players to be good members in your communities when you're there. That's another thing we talk about a lot with the mental skills, and with all the respective staffs, with what they do with their charitable organizations and their communities. We think that's an incredibly important part of the experience of being a professional baseball player, whether you're in Myrtle or whether you're outside of Knoxville. The impact that you can have on little kids, or the impact you can have by going to a children's hospital, or whatever it might be, to do a camp, for an inner city kid. You don't have to be in Chicago to do those things. You can do those things in South Bend, and you can do it in Eugene. So those are things that, again, help develop the person fully. We'd love to win at all levels, of course. I do feel like that's an important part of development, is understanding what it takes to actually win a baseball game, and an important baseball game in a playoff environment. But always our most important function of the minor leagues is to develop players, impact players for the team.
And do you set goals and say, hey, at Myrtle Beach, we'd like to see, when a player's at that high A level, here's what we want to see from them in terms of development, before they move on to say Tennessee and beyond?
Every player has their own individual player plan, and dependent on position, dependent on age, we have some benchmarks that we would like to see by the time they're at certain levels, no doubt about it. And we have certain benchmarks that aren't simply performance related, that isn't showing up in the box score or on a stat sheet. We have, it might be other things that are more fundamentally based, that dependent on position, that he'll need to do if he's going to succeed at the upper levels or succeed here in Chicago, the type of player we're going to ask him to be. So those will be on all those player plans. We meet with them 3 times a year. They're constantly addressed, and they're individualized to each guy. So it's not, all position players at Myrtle need to be doing this in order to move to Tennessee. It's just all dependent on the individual player.
Well, and I know Kristen's going to start kicking me so we can get to our game here pretty shortly, but the last thing, I know you love all the kids down here equally, but Myrtle Beach is your favorite, right? We can say that. Nobody's listening. Everybody else is turning around.
Eugene is listening, I guarantee it.
Yeah.
The beautiful
We've been
thing
having a little back and forth all weekend.
The beautiful thing about our organization is just that, every place has so much to offer in their own unique way, that we are spoiled to get to go to all these places, and I mean that sincerely. It's whether it's driving to South Bend and that beautiful facility they have there, or my kids love every affiliate, and I've taken them to every affiliate. But everyone is special in its own way. I mean, the Smoky Mountains are so beautiful, to being on the beach in Myrtle Beach, to being in the mountains and the rivers up there in Eugene, to Des Moines, the sneaky, cool downtown vibe of Des Moines. I look forward to going to every place, but more so just because of all the people that work in the front offices that we enjoy really spending time with.
Except for Andy. Anyway.
No, and you mentioned your family, and I think when we talked 2 years ago, your son was with you. Is this, which I think he sat in on the interview, so you'll have to tell him that we said hello, and we missed him today.
I will. He's got a couple of basketball games.
That was going to be my question: is if this Cubs convention was a family affair for you this year?
Not this year, only because now they're at their ages where they've got all their extracurricular things going on. So it's I've got one more panel after this, and then I got to hightail it back up to Evanston for a birthday party and a basketball game, and then come back down tomorrow for the down on the farm thing.
All right, well, we'll wrap up quick here, so so you can get on to your next itinerary. It's just a quick game. We've been playing little games with the guys all morning. So basically, I'll give Evan this card, and it is a title of a well-known movie. He's got 5 seconds. Use any characters, whatever, just not the movie title.
Okay, we can do that. All right.
And actually, let's do this first. We're gonna show the audience here what the movie is. All right.
Cousin Eddie.
Come on, you're gonna insult me by even asking me.
I'm not asking you anything.
Vacation. Let's go.
Well, I was told earlier I couldn't even name characters, and I was like, well,
Yeah, well,
then-
it's
then
only
I-
5 seconds, so we figured we'd
then
do
I
one.
offered an
All right, this time we'll give you a chance to give Evan one.
I saw it.
Evan,
I
look-
saw it already, so don't
Okay,
show
well-
that
Okay.
one.
You saw that one already?
Yeah, because you held it.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Honesty,
So
though,
no
is the best policy.
yes, no character names,
No,
right?
no, you can use character names. Say whatever you need to, just not the title of the movie.
Oh, can I kind of throw them off though? Because I've never seen this movie, but I know what I can
Well, if
say.
you want to win the game, then you can just.
All right, Lou Gehrig.
61.
I've never seen this movie, but his nickname was this,
Superhero?
right? Am I right in saying that?
No.
Yeah.
Okay,
right?
there you go.
That's what I said, Lou. Sorry,
I got
I've
you.
never seen the movie. I apologize. Should I do
All right,
another
so
one?
we'll let Evan go, and then you can do the last two. Oh, we got to show everybody what this is here. Okay.
My lack of movie knowledge is going to come out.
It's in the hole.
Oh, that's Caddyshack.
Boom.
See? There you go. All right, Jason, you'll give these last two.
Okay.
Evan, look
I
away.
hope I've seen these. Oh,
I would hope
yes.
so.
Dad, want to play catch?
Oh, Field of Dreams.
There we go. See?
All right, and our last one, Jason will give a clue as well.
Star Wars.
Oh, you totally peed.
That was
I was
the one
like,
I saw.
he's using the
Okay.
force.
Yeah, see, that's what it was. He used the force.
Use
and
the
he-
force. All right.
Boom.
Well, thank you very much,
Thank
Jason,
you
for
guys for having
stopping
me.
by. I
It's
really
fun.
appreciate the
A lot
insight.
of fun. Look forward to getting back down to Myrtle Beach this year.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's going to do it from us here in Myrtle today as far as interviews goes. Big thanks
Have a good
to
one,
Evan
everybody.
and Cubs Insider for helping us out
Thanks
today.
for bringing me along.
And lots of stuff going on still on social media with us, so check us out online, Twitter, Facebook. We're all here. Take care. See ya.
Bye.
Awesome.
Oh, no.